welcome to this review of the reMarkable 2. Starting off with a quick unboxing, inside the box of the reMarkable 2, you get the device itself obviously, and a USB-C charging cable, and not much else. You do not get any sort of a pen with this device, and whilst you can navigate the menus with both your touch and the pen, you can't use your finger to write or draw anything on the screen at all. I found the battery to be acceptable, although not as good as advertised, as mine went down from 100% to 70% in a week of very little use for that first week that I had the device. But overall, considering how often I need to charge my iPad, for example, if I'm using it regularly, I would expect to have to charge this once a week, once every 10 days or so. Now, the pen comes in white at £49. This has the basic writing functionality. For double the price of £99, you get the pen in black with a built-in eraser on the back. So you do not need to select the eraser tools in the menu in order to erase any mistakes you make. This makes the experience a lot easier and faster. But I'm not a huge fan of using the eraser, as the friction that is caused between the screen and the eraser just feels off. It's hard to describe, but it feels like you should not be rubbing these two materials together. It just feels like two completely different materials, one smooth, one a little bit rough, rubbing against each other. Now let's take a look at the pen. It attaches to the reMarkable 2 using magnets, weighs just 19 grams, has 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity. It will draw with a different thickness when using something like the paintbrush, depending on the angle that you're holding the pen at. And it never needs charging, which is really useful, especially for those who've used the Apple pens, which you need to plug in to charge. But one major drawback is that it needs new nibs, like a regular pencil would. And these nibs, if using the reMarkable on a regular basis, can cause what is an already extortionately priced package to become even more expensive. reMarkable say on their site that for an average person, the nibs last 3 to 7 weeks depending on usage, meaning you could theoretically go through 17 nibs a year, adding almost £28 to the cost of running this device per year. If you use it less often, you could probably get away with buying a single pack of 9 nibs a year at a cost of £14. As beautiful as the device is, you want a case to look after it. The case uses magnets to attach the reMarkable 2, along with a few grooves in the back of the case that grip onto the device itself. However, unfortunately, it does not automatically put the device to sleep when shutting the screen. reMarkable offer the folio case in grey for £99, and the leather versions, which come in brown and black, add £149 to your package. Meaning if you choose the cheapest pen and case, both essentials in my opinion, you're looking at £547. If you upgrade to the pen with the eraser on the back and a leather case, you're looking at £647. And again, keep in mind, you can't use this device without a pen. With such an expensive overall cost, meaning you're paying more than what you would for an iPad and some notebooks, you would expect performance that is nothing short of exceptional. And this is where the product falls a little bit short for me. At this price point, the functionality is not only limited, what is offered is frankly more hassle than it's worth, according to numerous people that I let try this device out for a few weeks. They all had the same complaints as I did. The screen is simply way too reflective, and this wasn't just the case in my living room, it was also the case in my local park, in my local coffee shop, and even in my car. At this price point, you would expect the screen that doesn't retain what you erase, which the screen on the reMarkable suffers from until you refresh the page. Now this, to be fair, is more a shortcoming of the technology at present. Even using this as an e-reader is not a great experience. The device doesn't work with Amazon Kindle files, but only with DRM-free EPUB files and PDF files, meaning you will not be reading any of the current bestsellers on this thing. I also found features such as selecting chapters simply didn't work, and increasing text sizes causes you to have to scroll along the page as the words don't reposition themselves on the screen. When you make the text bigger, they just go off the edge of the screen and you have to scroll the entire screen across to be able to read it. The palm rejection for the menus on the side of the screen is not great. I found myself often inadvertently bringing up menus, but at least you can choose between left and right-handed use, and this will position the menus on whatever side of the screen would be relevant to your usage. The most important thing, however, of course, And what you're essentially paying for is the writing experience, something that is almost perfect on this device. The delay in using the pen, whilst noticeable when looking closely for it on writing on this device, is completely minimal. The level of pressure works great when choosing something like the brush tool. However, if you want to draw, I would wonder why you don't just get an iPad. It has much more functionality and is frankly cheaper. Once you've taken your notes, the reMarkable can translate your handwriting to actual text that you can then send as a PDF. I found this to work pretty well when writing in straight lines. If writing at a slight angle, which I naturally do on paper, it won't be very accurate. I got it to be accurate to about 95%, and trust me, if I can convert my handwriting, it will pretty much work with anyone else's handwriting. Once you've done that, you can then save the text as a PDF and email it straight through the device itself. Now, typing in an email address shows the slow processor in this device, as typing has a very noticeable delay after inputting each letter. Now, there is a downside. If you don't have an active internet connection and you try to convert your writing into text, the functionality won't work. It has to have an internet connection. Now, onto the software itself. I downloaded the software onto my MacBook, and by adding any notes to my reMarkable, I was able to see it on my MacBook within seconds. By dropping an ebook into the reMarkable app on my desktop computer, it appeared on my reMarkable within seconds. So the app works great for me. So is this a must-buy? Well, I for one thought I'd be using this thing a lot more than I actually did. I just found myself constantly reaching for my 13-inch MacBook Pro, as it was easier to type on and erase, and when I absolutely needed a piece of paper, I just grabbed a pen and piece of paper, especially knowing I wouldn't need to deal with those pesky reflections on the screen. I thought, am I the only one who'd have these complaints with this device? So I lent the device out to a few friends, people who I know take notes all the time, doctors, a couple of writers I know. One is an author, and she wasn't a fan of this thing. Having to write by hand, then reread everything she'd written to make sure it was accurate, as she found it to be also 90-95% accurate. She much preferred to keep her notes on her notebook and just use a small pen and paper when needed. Anything she'd want to share, she'd simply put in her notebook, which I believe is in Dell XPS 13, as she found it much more easier to edit, write on that, and then just to be able to send it off to her agent whenever needed. So I asked her what would make you use this device, and she said she would keep her notes on this, but the price of the thing would have to come down considerably. And then she said maybe she can justify carrying that around as opposed to a small pen and paper in her back pocket. However, I did have some friends that absolutely love this thing. I have a doctor friend who uses his reMarkable all the time because he has to handwrite all of his patients' notes. But even he, as a doctor, almost returned it due to the frankly insane price point. He found that translating his handwriting to PDF also to be around 90% accurate, which was also one of his complaints, that if he did want to do that, he would have to reread everything he's written out for the day just to make sure it's accurate before it's sent. Of course, in his line of work, mistakes can be costly. Now, truth be told, even if this thing was a quarter of the price, think of it this way. How often do you find yourself reaching for a pen and paper over your laptop or your notebook or your phone to take down a note? If it's numerous times a day, then maybe this device is for you. But I strongly suggest you wait for a considerable price drop and wait until the technology is good enough in terms of reflections and processing power. Now, even if you'd use this all day, every day, I would be concerned that at this price point, everything the reMarkable does, Amazon could just add on their next Kindle. Why carry this and the Kindle around? Now, imagine having the full e-reader functionalities you have with your Kindle, and by simply carrying around the pen, being able to simply switch to writing functions on your Kindle and being able to have the same functionality as you would with this device. Is it just a matter of time before Amazon offer a version of the Kindle that includes all this functionality? If so, it's more than likely going to be a lot cheaper than this and incorporate a lot more functionality. The best part, though, I have to say, is that reMarkable offer a 30-day no questions asked money-back policy. So if you are still tempted despite hearing about the drawbacks, I would say give it a try. Let us know your thoughts below. If you've enjoyed this review or you found it in any way helpful, please do comment below or leave us a like, or a subscription would be great too. Thank you for watching and have a great day.